Okay, hi everyone. This is just to help you go through, remind you what you've got to do for your history coursework, okay, over the summer holidays. So I'm going to just go through a couple of things that you already know, but just so that it is clear in your mind, and by watching this video, everything will be there that will be useful, hopefully, to remind you what you're doing and when to do it by. So, firstly, what is your coursework? So it is, when it is finished completely, it will be between 3,500 words and 4,500 words. Okay, we're not asking you over the summer to completely finish it. So I'll go through what you need to do over the summer in a minute. It's worth 40 marks, but in total it's worth 20% of your A level. So it's important to get it right. And we have actually chosen questions for you. So you need to pick the one that you want to do. Okay, and hopefully you've already chosen one. But these are the questions that you could possibly do. Okay, so one focusing on Wilberforce, one focusing on women, resistance, religion, and economic factors. Okay, so you should have chosen one of those questions already. Right, this is your timeline as to what we need to do throughout the whole of our coursework. So in this summer term, you've had lessons to do with your coursework. You've done reading, you should have already chosen that question. So we should have already done those bits. Over the summer holidays, you need to write your first draft. Now, your first draft is literally just your essay. It doesn't need to have the interpretations of the historians. It doesn't need to have your analysis of those primary sources. It is just your essay, okay? The deadline for that to be done, and it needs to be uploaded on Teams, will be Monday the 6th of September. When you come back in September, we will continue working on that coursework in your British history lessons. We'll be going through that first draft. We'll also be going through how to write the interpretations and how we write the sources and the historians. And by the October, you will have finished your coursework, your NEA, and the final submission of that coursework is Monday the 8th of November. Okay, and that might seem really far away, but actually we do need to keep improving it and keep working on it. So we need to make sure that we're sticking to those deadlines. Okay, so useful places to look to help you with your coursework, and there are actually quite a few places that you can look which are useful. The first number one place to look at is your Teams page, and I'll show you in a minute on your Teams pages where to look, okay? But first place to go is your Teams page. You can also try the library if you're in school, or the one in town will have books that you can also borrow. Google Scholar's quite good too. They quite often have some of the books already scanned in, or they might have pages of them, which will be really useful. Google Books, again, is quite useful. And two areas that are really useful and very important for kind of this important academic history is History Today, and the login details for History Today are here. So you can go onto that web link and you can go on History Today and find out that information there. They have really good articles that are written by historians, so they're very useful to go to. And we also have, which is brilliant, because it costs really quite a lot of money, we have a subscription to JSTOR in school too, so that's brilliant. So our username and password for that are there. JSTOR has lots and lots of academic articles that are written by historians. It will also have book reviews. It will also have reviews of historians. So that's a really good place to look, JSTOR. Quite a few of the articles that we use, we've actually got from JSTOR ourselves. Okay, so if you're struggling for reading or to extend your understanding, those are good places to have a look. But the first place to look is on Teams, okay, because we have done quite a lot of the legwork, the hard work for you already. This is your compulsory reading. Okay, so everybody has to read these articles. And lots of these articles you will have already read. Okay, so for example, the article from Claire Midgley, we have included that in the booklet, so you have already read that article. As long as you've kept up to date with the booklet, you will have read her. Okay, Matthews's article there, we included it in the booklet, so you have read that. Wilberforce, did Wilberforce set African free? Again, that article is in our booklet. So we've used lots of these articles in our booklets, so you will have already read quite a lot of this compulsory reading. And then this is your extra reading to do around the topics that you have chosen. So for example, if you have chosen resistance as your main factor, we strongly suggest that you also read these two articles too. Okay, if you've included religion, then we strongly suggest that you read this article. So this is your extra reading for your chosen factors. Okay, so you don't have to do all of the reading here, but you do have to do the reading for the factors that you have chosen. Okay. So, your to-do list. This is really important that you make sure that you complete this by the time that you come back in September. Okay, so number 1, finish all those booklets that we've done. Okay, so the introduction one, political and religious, women, resistance and the actions of enslaved people, and economic. Okay, they are all on Teams, and I'll show you again in a minute where you can find them. So if you're missing any pages, you shouldn't be, but if you're missing any pages, you haven't finished them all, number 1 thing, finish them. Number 2 is to complete that compulsory reading, which I've just shown you. Okay. Number 3 is to plan your essay, which you have been doing in lessons, and to make sure that you're using your planning sheet. Number 4 is to write that first draft, and it should be a minimum of 2,000 words. Okay, it should cover 3 factors, so it should be 3 of these factors here. So you might have women, resistance and economics. Okay, and the deadline for that, just a reminder, is Monday the 6th of September. And the final thing that you need to do and submit to Teams is to do your first draft success checklist. Okay, so that's your to-do list. Finish the booklets, do the compulsory reading, plan your essay, write your essay, and then do the success checklist. I'm going to show you now on Teams where you can find all of these booklets and reading. Okay, so this is one of my classes. So if you go to, just go to the files, go to documents, general and class material, you can see we've put your booklets here. So if I click on this one, your booklets there, okay, and some of the lesson stuff's also in there, but your booklets are all in here. Okay, so if you click on them, you will see them. Okay, so those are all your booklets. Just make sure that you've filled in everything to do with those. Your lessons are all on there too. Okay, so we've put on all of your lessons, which might help to go back and have a look at. And then this is the other bits that we have added. So we've done a knowledge organizer, which you've all been given a hard copy of, but just to remind you that this is also on Teams. So it goes through quite a lot of information here. It goes through key people, key terms, key dates, and importantly, it goes through key dates of all of the 5 factors, okay, which will really help you when you're writing your first draft. So, you know, if in your notes you're missing a date or an event or something like that, have a look in the knowledge organizer because it will be there. Okay, so that's the first thing. So the knowledge organizer is just there. Your reading, all of the compulsory reading is here. Okay, so we've put it all into folders. The compulsory and the extra reading are all here. So you can see we've scanned in all of these articles. They are all there. They're all places that you can access. It's all on Teams. Okay, so you don't need to get out any extra reading or anything like that. We have put it all on Teams for you. And there is here just a list of journals and extra articles, podcasts, etc. that might interest you, that might fill in any gaps. So they're all on there as well. Okay. So that's your reading, and then this is your planning. So you have been doing in lessons a planning sheet. So it looks like this, where you've chosen your question, hopefully, and you have planned your factors, your evidence, etc. Make sure that you have done this planning sheet fully before you start to write, because that will really help you to think about how you're going to structure it, how you're going to organise it, okay? Because that is really, really important and something that students can sometimes struggle with. So make sure you've planned before you write, okay? So you should have done your planning sheet. You should also, and these are the two things that you need to make sure, well, there's also this course requirement, which goes through a lot of the things that I've talked to you about. So it goes through the questions, it goes through the timeline again, it goes through places where to find things, and it's got that compulsory reading. Okay, so that's on there too, the course requirements and guidance. But also, what's really important is that you have this first draft success checklist. Okay, so this needs to be filled in and uploaded to Teams, and it just gives you a few, checklists, ideas, reminders of things like of what we want to see in your introduction. So we want you to be using DCA. We want you to be using appeal structure in your paragraphs, in your factors. We want you to make sure that you have covered those 100 years, and you need to be filling in examples where you're covering those 100 years, because that's a really important part of the coursework. So just fill this in. What examples have you got of each decade? Okay, and it will help you to make sure when you're writing it that you have covered all of those time periods. Okay, so really, really important that you do these things over the summer. Make sure you finished all your booklets, completed your compulsory reading, planned your essay, written that first draft, and completed and uploaded that first draft success checklist. Okay, so that's what you all need to be doing over the summer. I hope you have a lovely summer. And if you do, do email us, because we are at the end of an email if you need to talk to anybody, chat anything through. Okay, but hopefully that will be useful. It's all on Teams, and hopefully this video will go through quite a lot of stuff. Okay, see you later. Bye.